Fascinating, and I have two fascinating guests joining me now. First, here on set, delighted to have Janelle Weinstein, a New Jersey-based family law attorney, very well known, as is Joanna Greenwald, a criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor. Let me start with you, Joanna. We're talking about this DNA. If the prosecution has an expert that can say unequivocally the DNA was found on the steering wheel, why not put him on first so that all these other cops don't have to say, oh, I don't know?
Well, I don't understand that. This doesn't make sense to me at all as a former prosecutor, now as a criminal defense attorney. If I knew that I had a negative hit on the wheel, that is one of my major things in the case that links this defendant to this action, I never would be doing this. So I honestly, I don't get it. This is not in the lines of what I would do, because all you have is it's like a domino effect. You have one say no, then you have another one say no DNA positive test, a third one, and all a jury hears is 1, 2, 3, nothing, nothing, nothing. It doesn't link it, so I don't think they're making out their case as far as what I'm seeing right now.
And I want to bring in Janelle Weinstein, a New Jersey-based family law attorney, because family is so crucial to this case. This is a family, the Zammittis, completely shattered and devastated by this. Endure this pause, one of many long pauses. Joanna Greenwald, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor. Is the prosecution in this case making the points the way they need to? They've made some big points, but in between that is a lot of minutia that goes on seemingly forever.
Absolutely, categorically not. No, they are. I don't think they're making their case at all, as a matter of fact. As a defense attorney, I'd be moving very shortly when they rest for a trial order of dismissal, because they've not made anything out. The fact that they bring to attention that that you have Fitzpatrick, who sent a letter to say, that something could happen to the family again. That's not a crime. That's a crime as far as if he's really harassing and it's him. That doesn't make him the murderer. They have no DNA at this point that's been brought forward.
Right.
They've got nothing.
Joanna, I hear you. We'll have to postpone judgment. Let's go back into the courtroom. Question: what is your conclusion? And then go to the minutia so people would know more clearly, the jurors would know what they're talking about.
Because they have to lay a foundation that this print is in fact Mr. Fitzpatrick's print. So they had to do that in order to make that out for the court. Once they did that, then he brought his conclusion. I also think she was trying to, really hone it in that this is in fact Fitzpatrick's print, because as we said earlier, one after another of officers kept saying, no prints, no prints, no prints. So we're doing 1, 2, 3. Now, finally, we got a hit. We got a lotto.
All right, let's jump
one.
back into the court. Thank you for that, Joanna.
What's been previously some evidence to tie this defendant to this truck.
And Joanna Greenwald, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor, would you be handling it in this manner? Because last week we were talking about DNA evidence, or the lack thereof, on the steering wheel. Mind you, at the very beginning of the case, prosecutors said the defendant's DNA was on the steering wheel in some way, shape, or form. But somehow in the course of this trial, we haven't seemed to bring that home to the jury. What's going on?
Well, as a prosecutor, you don't ever say in an opening statement, almost like make a promise, like I will prove to you that, something that you can't prove. So no, I wouldn't have done it that way. But I do want to make a very important point. When they just went through no, there wasn't this, there wasn't a print by their testing, it's very important not just what is seen, but what is omitted, what is not talked about. And as she was just going through all of that, I want to make an important point that it wasn't just no fingerprints, no anything that they just went through. So you didn't hear about them finding anything. It's not just about fingerprints. You have Dunkin' Donuts cups. We all know if you sip it that there has to be something from somebody.
But what if he had gloves on? I mean,
yeah, but gloves. But your mouth leaves DNA on a Dunkin' Donuts cup. You don't see anything. No hair follicles. No anything when they're going and processing, as he discussed, his truck. So I kind of feel like saying, like when I was younger, when you had those commercials, where's the beef? We're not seeing anything, and I think that's what's frustrating me looking as prosecution. But as defense, you haven't seen a criminal defense attorney standing up and objecting to anything. Why? Because she's making his case for him. Keep saying nothing. Keep saying nothing. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
I certainly cannot believe that the prosecution said on opening something that they're not going to bring up. It's just a question of when they're going to bring up perhaps a DNA expert who is going to lay out their forensic evidence. But again, let's go back to Lieutenant Holleran from the Massachusetts tale about forensic evidence or the lack thereof. Let's remember that the defendant has admitted sending a threatening letter to the parents of one of the murder victims after the murder that said, "Notice, close now or lose more family." Joanna Greenwald, everything else out the window, that's still very incriminating.
Well, what that shows is that he did something really stupid and cruel and potentially could be charged with the correct crime, which would be harassment. That doesn't make him a murderer. There's nothing here, as we've been watching, that's been presented that he's done anything otherwise. And at this point, there's nothing that proves that he carried a firearm, that he in fact used a firearm, and then he in fact killed 2 people. Nothing has been presented except that potentially, and I don't see how they didn't charge him with, harassment. Well, that he could be charged with.
Janelle Weinstein, as we wait, you're a family law attorney. There are incriminating aspects to this case, though. Let's not forget that there is incriminating evidence in terms of inconsistencies on the part of the defendant. Like he said, he went to get coffee. He told his friend, and there was no video of him getting coffee at the place he went to go at the time of the murders.
Well, I'm not sure I agree. I think that doesn't make or break a case that you said you went and got coffee and you didn't necessarily see it. The evidence, the tangible evidence that we have seen presented here so far has been little to none as far as against the defendant. I think that there are other motives that the defense can potentially be portraying. For example, a client of Allstate Concrete may have been upset and come by and shot the owner as well as a worker there. As well as, what I'm surprised at, you're not seeing anything about Michelle Zammitti and her role in this. She potentially could have had a major role in this action, and we don't see anything about that. But then again, we're not seeing a lot of anything as we're watching as far as evidence.
Very good points. Let's go back in, and we're watching William Zane, the medical examiner, reporting live from Massachusetts today. Thanks also to our fabulous guests, Joanna Greenwald and Janelle Weinstein. Time now to check in with Ron Kuby, who's in for Jamie Floyd, to find out what's coming